the building blocks of our bodies that relate to the tanmatras, the Mahabhutas. And so we can use these elements for us to feel more balanced, okay, to bring us back into balance. So let's talk about where these are maybe in our body as a point of reference. So we're just getting to know our body a little bit more. So if we're talking about ether, where in our body can we find ether? Is the cavities and spaces in the body. Yeah, so the uterus, your sinuses, the intestines, and the gut. Yeah, spaces in the ear, openings, spaces, the nostrils. Air, we can find air. We can find air in the places where movement happens. So that again is the gut, the bowel, moving things through our body, the blood, and I was going to write this down actually. Fire can be found in your blood again. Funnily enough, in your eyes, your vision, because that's our ability to perceive, to receive information and be able to transform it. And fire is that element of transformation. So we've got blood, we've got eyes, we've got our digestive tract. And we have water, so obvious place is our mouth, blood,
Urinary?
yeah, urinary, yeah, kidneys done. And then earth is the structure of our body. So that's our bones, bone mass, exactly. We've even got air in our bones. That spongy part in the middle of the bone is also air. But mucus, yeah, yeah. Yes, exactly. Water and earth. We're going to talk about that in a moment when we go into the doshas. Exactly. Muscles, thank you. Exactly. All those tissues like your tendons, ligaments, all the structural support of your body, basically. Okay. And so if you've heard of Ayurveda before, you've also heard about the doshas. Can't not have heard about the doshas. So the doshas are, because Ayurveda likes to categorize everything, we have ether and air, and that creates a vata dosha. I'm going to put this here. And fire and water makes pitta dosha. Earth and water makes kapha dosha. Can everyone read that? Yeah. So this is the building blocks of our body. So also we talked about this during the week. The joints have vata dosha. I mean, you can find in the joints pretty much every dosha, even if we're talking about pitta and kapha. Our hormones, pitta dosha. Women particularly are more of a hot type with their hormones. We have hot flushes, and our female body is is known for its heat. Men for their coolness, the cooler qualities. Okay. And one more for Earth is fat, adipose tissue. That was it. That was it. Adipose. Okay. And so, with this kind of deeper knowledge of our bodies, and we can start to notice when there is a balance in the body and when there's an imbalance, and when there is certain qualities in those tissues of the body, or at least in those areas. All right, let's take, for example, because Ayurveda likes to categorize not only our physical body and the elements of the earth, but also those qualities are in everything from plants to minerals. And so when we look at the plant life, they also have qualities to them. And so we have 20 qualities, 10 pairs of opposites. And so they're either going to be heavy, that means heavy means building, or they're going to be light, which means they're going to be reducing. This is important to kind of get. Once you get this, it kind of starts to fit in. And it's all right. You don't have to get it all in this one sitting. The idea is just to see what sits with you and see if you can recognize it in your everyday experience. Start to recognize it more and more in your everyday experience. So we have these two opposing qualities, yeah? The heavy or the light, the building or the lightening, the reducing qualities, two main opposing qualities. And then we have 10 pairs of opposites. So we have slow, intense, quick. We have cool, and then we have hot. We have oily or unctuous. Unctuous means it's like an oily heaviness. Then we have dry, which is the opposite. Smooth and rough. Solid, liquid. Slimy, clear. Cloudy, hard.
Would that be cloudy clear and slimy hard?
No, oh yes, you're right. Yeah, it should be slimy, hard, cloudy, clear. Thank you. And stable, mobile, big, and subtle. And you can kind of see how they fit in with these qualities, right? So ether and air are very light in quality. They're clear, they're mobile. They're said to be rough and dry. And so all of these qualities belong to more Vata dosha. And then Pitta dosha, some of the qualities related to them would be hot, they're liquid, they're quick, intense, hot, dry. And then Kapha is more of these kind of heavy qualities, oily, solid, cloudy, stable, big. And then when we look at food, certain food items, for example, a carrot. Carrot is by quality, it's pungent, but it's also light, and it has hot qualities because it's pungent, and yet it's subtle, it's light. So if we're looking at that food, we would give that to someone that is more cooler by nature. And that is someone that's more Kapha dosha, that's more Vata dosha. If we give that to Pitta dosha, is going to increase the heat in their body, the heat of their body. And this is how we kind of balance out our physiologies, by feeding our bodies the right food. Or it's not that Pitta dosha would not be able to not have carrots. It means that they would add something else in that's cooling, more astringent and cool. So like apple or aloe vera or cilantro. So you kind of have to get used to these qualities and playing about with them. And it becomes kind of almost like, you know, I wouldn't say second nature, but it's kind of like you begin to tap into this wisdom. You get the transmission from the sages. As it's all the knowledge of, you know, the wisdom that's within our bodies, within our bones. Our body knows this. In fact, our bodies are speaking to us all the time if we care to slow down and listen and take the time to really tune in, notice symptoms when they're coming up. Like, for example, we take, for example, Pitta dosha again. That type of body, that kind of constitution, when it's in balance, they are confident, strong leaders, but they're very driven. And so that driven nature in them can lead to burnout. It can lead to fatigue, immense fatigue, and yet they'll just keep pushing through it because they've got this Pitta nature that drives them. They've got a lot of fire, heat, intensity. And so we need to bring it back into balance. And the way that we do that is first and foremost through our diet, what we eat every day. You know, this is how we sustain ourselves. Any questions? Anything that's kind of coming up so far?
Are you? I'm not sure. You might be getting into this. Your thoughts on like cooked versus raw food, and just like the Ayurvedic. I've heard so many mixed things. It becomes so confusing sometimes. Like raw food, some people say has like more prana,
Yeah.
but it's harder to digest. And I guess what are the trade-offs there? And it's something you can get into.
Yeah. Okay. So as we've already kind of like established that there's 3 different constitutions, 3 different types of body, which we've all got all 3, we've all got those 5 elements within every body. and yet we're still going to have this predominant one, or maybe you'll be dual dosha. So we're saying it's not one size fits all approach. We have to look at things in an individual way. And so when we're doing that, we say, we also look at your age, we look at the season that you're in, the location that you're in. So to simplify it and make it kind of broad for everyone to get benefit from what you've just shared, the difference with raw food, which is a very yogic way of eating, because as you've said, there's a lot of prana in that food, which is great if you have a strong digestive fire. That means you're digesting your food. You have the Agni, that's your digestive juices, to be able to really get the nutrients from that food. The problem is that a lot of people may not have that type of strong digestion or good digestion that they're processing the food. Now, there are also those other factors. So if we're a Vata dosha, or we have a Vata imbalance, they're the ones whose constitution is typically quite erratic and kind of all, a bit scattered. And so for them, their digestion, their Agni, is typically quite also erratic. Sometimes they have a really strong appetite, and other times they won't have any appetite at all and can go, just forget to eat. And so that kind of digestion is not a particularly strong digestion. And by all means, a Vata type person would not be recommended to eat more foods that are going to irritate them because they're dry and rough. So Ayurveda suggests to make it more palatable for the Vata type dosha, you want to eat more cooked foods. If you're a Pitta dosha, then you've typically got a very strong Tikshna Agni, a strong Agni, that digestive fire that can just eat through everything. You're hungry all the time, you've got an appetite. And you will benefit from raw foods. So you're the ones that can eat the raw foods, typically. And then the Kapha type dosha, they're the ones with the sluggish digestion. And that means that, really typically they need 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day, but very rarely 3 meals a day, because the digestion, their metabolism is so slow and sluggish. And so what they're doing is they're not digesting their meal. And so the best way to tell if you should eat and if you have got an appetite is through appetite. Like the appetite is a signal to your body, signaling you that you're ready to eat. It has secreted the digestive juices. It's preparing ourselves for food. And when, like we get food in front of us, the first thing we do is we eat with our eyes, right? And so those digestive juices should be flowing, and then you sit down to eat your meal. If you're Kapha dosha and you're eating raw foods, that can really energize your body. It can be really good. And so it's just a case of eating the right amount then for your constitution. And then cooked foods, we know that during cooking foods, we're cutting out a lot of that time and energy that the digestive system needs to cook food and process food during the digestive process. So it's just food is easier to digest when we cook it. which means that you're going to get, a better bowel movement, a more regular bowel movement. That's the real aim and purpose, is that we be able to excrete the waste from our body, and get the nourishment and be able to excrete that, preferably in the mornings. So if you enjoyed this video and you would like to learn more about how to create a sattva lifestyle for rest and rhythm, join our 7 days of sattva challenge. Our next video that you should watch is how to use your dosha clock.